Hey, what's up? I'll be finishing up on last week's video about Ariella Butik's critique of Wolfgang Tillmans' retrospective at the MoMA entitled To Look Without Fear. If you want to take a look at the first part of this review, please click the link below. I'll summarize both videos at the end of this one and draw a conclusion. Without further ado, let's get right into how Butik smashes Tillmans. Number 4, he hasn't evolved. This can be one of the harshest ways to criticize the body of work of an artist. Now it seems to be a period of intense compartmentalization and decentralization of the way we appreciate art, where work by people can be discussed alongside Gerhard Richter's. While these two have radically contrasting outputs and levels of consistencies, and to most of us different level of artistic merit, we live in a time where there's a market for both, and the traditional gatekeeping authorities have largely been replaced by an algorithm. Back to Tillmans. I was actually shocked to read Butik accusing him of being stagnant. I've always had this vague perception of Tillmans' output displaying tons of variety. Like, I was always slightly surprised to see new work, or new to me at least, and how different it felt from Jeans Over Stairpost from 1991. In fact, I was always kind of surprised that he could sustain a level of recognition while photographing such wide variety of subject matter. So I had to ask myself, why is Butik's perception of Tillmans' work so different from mine? I had to go back and try to find a list of works with dates, which wasn't that easy. Artsy.net does provide a broad overview of his work and prices they might have gone for. Based on the years on this website, it seems that instead of having defined periods where he explores a specific subject matter or photographic style, he has been exploring many different styles and subjects simultaneously, and he has revisited them at different points in his trajectory. I actually went back to his episode on Talk Art, a British art podcast, where he talks about him not concentrating on specific series constrained by time. Here's a clip.
Yeah, when you say series, I do call them usually by the German word for drapery, Faltenwurf.
Faltenwurf, yeah.
And of course, there is a seriality, but I never actually work in series as such that I look for them. So now this month I'm working on this series. I only really add to them when I have a new genuine experience of that type.
Oh, right.
I don't sort of go and take a pile of clothes and now I stage.
Now you're working on the Faltenwurf series.
Yeah.
No,
I think the first one of them I saw of yours was Sportflecken.
These, then, could give the impression of being stagnant. If an artist focuses on everything all at once, it is very difficult to organize their output into a chronological progression that comes across as evolving. If we look a little closer, though, there are levels of abstraction explored with the Freisch Swimmer series, excuse my non-existent German, from the early 2000s that we would never expect from him 10 years prior. Also, the minimalism of the potentially ongoing Silver series started in the late noughties, or the cleanliness of the Paper Drop series from the early 2000s would sit at odds with his more iconic images from the 90s. The intimacy and domesticity of his early work also seems mostly to have been abandoned by him these days. Quote, Tillmans hasn't developed much since his heyday, a fact that he tries to hide with non-chronological arrangement. I actually think that Butik has missed Tillmans' evolution because of the non-chronological arrangement. But that's a testament to how difficult it is to organize his output in neat little packages. Quote, he took up digital photography in 2008, but its precision gleam undercuts the homemade roughness so that his post-conversion pictures become suddenly more impersonal and generic, end quote. Here, I do have to agree with Butik. Although they throw this in with the ways in which Tillmans hasn't evolved, I just think it's a minor unfortunate detour. His photographs look more deliberate and deep when they were captured on film. I speak a bit more about this 2 episodes ago when I discuss his Fruit Logistica project. Link in the video description. Number 5, how haphazard the curatorial style is. Butik doubles down on their criticism of the arrangement. Quote, Some are fixed to the wall with scotch tape or push pins, while others meticulously framed, end quote. Not only the non-chronological arrangement is designed to conceal his stagnancy, but also navigating this exhibition feels like a game with secret rules and no obvious goal. I really shouldn't comment on this, as I haven't been to the show. But generally, I do tend to agree with this kind of observation. I do believe that photography, or the way it's curated, has its own language and idiosyncrasies of generating a response that doesn't necessarily correlate or have a parallel with other languages like music or English. We can try to translate this response to a book or an essay, but something will always be lost in translation. Certain photographic gestures resist being translated to words more vehemently than others, but this doesn't mean they hold no expressive value. When it comes to this playful arrangement of photos, I've never found it all that interesting, but mostly because sequencing gives us a chance to really put forward a stance or a strong idea or an ethical or political conviction. Especially with someone like Tillmans, whose work is so intangible and playful by itself, he could really flex some rigor with sequencing. But again, I was not at the show, so cannot comment whether this was some wishy-washy decorative arrangement like the ones I see so often. Okay, I'm done with this whole thing. Let's do a quick summary. These are the 5 main points of criticism that Budic wrote about on the article. Number 1, how Tillmans claims to be empathetic but fails. Number 2, how overplayed his role in decentralizing photography is by MoMA. Number 3, how he confuses subject matter with form. Number 4, he hasn't evolved. Number 5, how haphazard the curatorial style is. The one praise Budic gives Tillmans was that, quote, from the beginning, he grasped the power of art historical reference to elevate the everyday. Portraits of his friends evoke the scrawny, elongated bodies of German Renaissance nudes. In a 1988 self-portrait in a swimsuit, Tillmans adopts the contrapposto of Cézanne's monumental male bather, a star in MoMA's collection. Anders pulling a splinter from his foot, 2004, summons the torqued body and fixed concentration of the Spinario, a Roman bronze in the collection of the Metropolitan Museum. End quote. There you go, to end on a sweet note. Hope this was all kind of interesting. I had to read the article many times while preparing material for the video. Ariela Budic is such a fantastic writer, and I'd love to have people like them with strong, intelligent opinions around me. It's quite evident that Budic didn't enjoy the show, and that is perfectly fine, isn't it? Especially when worded so eloquently. The only reason why I chose to do these 3 videos is to give myself an excuse to study Tillmans' work a little deeper. It has always resonated with me, and this article gave me a chance to uncover a few of the reasons why I love it so much. Love photography, feel photography, but also think a little bit about photography. Juan out. See you soon.